Good afternoon and welcome to the August 4th, 2026 Salinas City Council meeting. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Patty?
This meeting is available in Spanish for members of the public in attendance and on Zoom. Translation devices can be obtained in the foyer. Esta reunión está disponible en español para los miembros del público y en Zoom. Las unidades de traducción se pueden obtener en la entrada de la rotonda.
Okay, thank you. Zoom webinar participation is available for members of the public. The Zoom webinar ID and link are available on the posted agenda on the city website. And with that, will everyone please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, Patty, would you take the roll, please?
Councilmember Barajas?
Present.
Councilmember Barrera?
Here.
Councilmember Diorigo?
Present.
Councilmember De La Rosa? Councilmember Salazar?
Here.
Councilmember Sandoval?
Here.
Mayor Donahue?
I am here.
Thank you.
All right. Before we get started, I have an announcement. There are videos circulating from the bull riding event held at the Salinas Sports Complex on August 1st. The footage is disturbing, and I want to assure our community that we take this incident very seriously. The event was not organized by the California Rodeo Salinas, and they have issued a statement and are fully cooperating with authorities. The facility was rented by a separate organization. The Salinas Police Department has also opened an investigation, working closely with Animal Control and the District Attorney's Office to determine whether criminal charges are appropriate. The involved animal was also reported to the SPCA to ensure its welfare. We understand the concern this has created. Our city values humane treatment of animals. If anyone has additional details that may assist the investigation, please contact the Salinas Police Department. Jose?
Hemos visto videos del evento de monta de toros en el complejo deportivo de Salinas desde el 1 de agosto. Los videos son perturbadores y quiero asegurar a nuestra comunidad que nos tomamos este incidente muy en serio. Este evento no fue organizado por California Rodeo Salinas. Dicha organización ha emitido un comunicado y están colaborando con las autoridades. El evento fue organizado por una organización independiente. El Departamento de Policía de Salinas también ha iniciado una investigación trabajando en colaboración con la Agencia de Control de Animales y la Fiscalía del Condado para determinar si van a presentar cargos penales. Asimismo, se ha informado a la SPCA sobre el animal involucrado para su bienestar. Comprendemos la preocupación de la comunidad. Nuestra ciudad valora el trato humanitario de los animales. Si alguien tiene información adicional que pueda ayudar a la investigación, les pedimos que se pongan en comunicación con el Departamento de Policía de Salinas.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, do we have some new employee welcome and promotions?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Lisa Murphy, Assistant City Manager. I'm pleased to announce the promotion of Matt Nelson from Airport Manager to Airport Director.
Very good.
Mayor and Council, just happy to announce the promotion of our city clerk to deputy city manager because she does a lot for the community. So she now expands more. Thank you.
Is that it? It is not.
No, we have a few more.
Good afternoon, Selena Andres, Finance Director. I'd like to welcome Juliana Guzman. She's our new payroll supervisor in finance. Juliana was born and raised currently lives in the city of Salinas. She has over 17 years of experience working in local government finance and has spent the last 6 years working in payroll for a neighboring city. Very happy to welcome her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council Member, City Attorney. I'm really excited. We have 4 new employees here that started at the police department in July. 2 police recruits, Mark Alvarez Lopez, who's also will be attending the South Bay Regional Police Academy, and Fabian Narez, who also is scheduled to attend the police academy. 2 professional staff members, They're both here present. One is our police community service aide, Melanie Gasca Gonzalez, if you don't mind standing up. So tremendous asset to the department. She obtained her bachelor's degree in forensics behavioral science from Fresno State and her master's degree as a crime analyst from Arizona State. And Melanie looks forward to working with this department and growing in her role with the police department. And the next position is for our police office technician, and she's also here today, Stephanie Nicole Garcia. She previously worked accounting in the AG industry for the past 10 years. She joined the police department in July and looking forward to working with our team and growing under the personnel and training unit. And lastly, I know they're effective in August, but we just promoted 3 police department members. Gabe Gonzalez was promoted to deputy chief. Stephen Gray was promoted to commander, and Manuel Lopez was promoted to sergeant. Those don't take effect till August 17th, but it's really good news for the entire police department, so thank you.
Good evening, council. Public Works has 3 promotions, all moving from the junior engineer to the assistant engineer. These promotions were Guianda Gomez, Victor Gutierrez, and Jonathan Hernandez. And then we had a employee returning to us after leaving. He came back, and he's a forestry worker 1, and he is Jamie Solano Balderas. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great, thank you. All right, a couple of notes about this evening's meeting. We will be opening the public hearing at 4 o'clock, so there are 2 items on that. So any business that is not conducted prior to that 4 o'clock will be continued till the next meeting following the public hearing. And then this evening, we will not have the city managers or council members report, so so folks can get to National Night Out. So,
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I apologize for that. I do have some comments after the meeting, so that however that looks, I mean, it's on the agenda. I want to have that part there. Thank you. That's why I don't like these meetings like this,
well, this, we'll, all right, well, then we'll figure out how to allow comments for a few minutes, so we'll, well, okay, that's fine. All right. Okay, with that, we are now open for public comment on items that are not on the agenda and that are in the City of Salinas' subject matter jurisdiction. Comments on consideration, public hearing items, and the consent agenda should be held until the items are reached. Public comments generally will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Each person who addresses the City Council during public comment shall do so in an orderly manner and shall not make any personal, slanderous, or profane remarks to any member of the City Council, the city staff, or the general public. Any person who makes such remarks or who uses threatening, personal, or abusive language or engages in any other disorderly conduct which disrupts or disturbs the meeting may be asked to leave the City Council chambers. With that, we are open for public comment.
Beautiful Salinas. I mean, I love this area. I was at Montebello Park myself, had a barbecue there on Saturday, and all of our burners are no good. You can't even cook the meat on there. It's bad. So we just had a meeting, I believe, last week about, Parks and Rec is so excellent, this and that. Everything's broken. Not true. Everything is not good. I don't know how you guys pat yourselves on the back doing that. It's ridiculous. Go to all the parks right now and look at them. They're all run down. And you guys just pat yourselves on the back, give you guys yourselves awards and raises and this and that. And our infrastructure is failing. Our streets are still bad. I'm going to keep coming here, Mayor, because you need to do your job. I'm sorry. You guys all need to do your job up here. there's people calling you guys in all districts. I'm not gonna point you guys out today, but there's fire hydrants that are covered. There's things that are not taken care of. We haven't got our street light yet. I don't know how hard it is to do that, Mayor. You guys take all the money from us, Mr. Mendez. All the money they take from Montebella, and you guys can't fix anything for us over there. It's run down. The grass is all yellow. Did we not pay the water bill? I mean, what's going on? I don't get it. Tony, get involved, man. Come see us. Come talk to us. I mean, all your parks are run down. De Arrigo's parks are run down too. Your parks run down too. All of them. I haven't been to yours, Andrew, but I'll make my trip out there. I'm sure it is too. I mean, yours has been run down forever. They're finally doing something about it, thank God. Finally put some money in there. I mean, I hate to be negative. We live in a beautiful community, but we can't even keep it beautiful. When people come from out of town, it's embarrassing. They drive down here and the roads are all messed up. Come on, guys. Get it together, please. It's not that hard. You have all the money. I know you guys are tired. I mean, God bless you guys. Have a great day and have fun tonight. Okay? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Terry Fedena. I just want to say I honor and respect all that you do. It may not be perfect, but you're each unique, and each district has voted you in, and we're supporting you. And I support Margaret. She's my district representative. You represent us. And I think about you often, and I pray and bless you for the hard decisions that you have to make that we don't even understand sometimes. Sometimes I'm here, I don't understand half of what is going on, but I pray, and I believe that you are making, at the best of your knowledge, good decisions for us. And this is something that just helped me this week because I was making decisions. So I'm just going to address you, Andrew, Tony, Jose, even Christopher, even though you're not elected, we bless you for being our attorney. Dennis, our mayor. Renee, you're doing a great job. Aurelio and Gloria, even though you're not here, and Margaret. Okay. In the Proverbs 8, it says, wisdom says, you will find true success when you find me. For I have insight into wise plans that are designed just for you. I, wisdom, hold in my hands living understanding, courage, and strength that we all need. I empower you to reign, rulers and leaders, to make laws, to make decisions that are just and good for all of us. And I know that you're doing that to the best of your ability. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Cheryl Darlington, and I'm here to address Salinas' canopy, the canopy on Santa Monica Way. Presently, there are 5 trees in total on 3 separate properties. There are 23 homes on the street, 2 liquid amber trees slated for removal for disturbing the sidewalk, 1 raywood ash infested with aphids, and my 2 trees. I had the city plant 2 trees in my parkway over 15 years ago, flowering cherry trees. Despite my care, they did die of canker about 7 years later. Afterward, I contacted the city for replacements. They were planting raywood ash. Raywood ash trees have a propensity for aphids. Instead, I repurposed the tree collars and planted 2 apricot trees about 10 years ago. 1 anonymous complaint, and a city crew came to remove both my trees. Had I not been home, would my trees have been removed without notification? No one could answer what the complaint was regarding. After some homework, I've discovered Salinas' tree canopy is only 7.8%, but healthy urban canopies follow a 330-300 rule. 3 visible trees from every home, a 30% canopy, 300 meters from a green space, thus enhancing neighborhoods aesthetically, improve overall environmental quality by reducing heat, absorbing stormwater, and providing biodiversity. I'm requesting to save my 2 trees. I'm requesting a meeting with the city manager to discuss suggestions that my neighbors have shared with me, what the tree removal criteria and canopy are in this city. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. No, not a spectator sport.
How's it going, Council? Daniel Munoz here, East Salinas resident.
I'm glad that the mayor addressed the issue with the rodeo, well, not with the California rodeo, but with the group that they rented out to, because I do understand it wasn't the organization that has the lease. They rented out to somebody else. So thank you for at least addressing that, and thanks to the police department for opening an investigation. I hope an arrest is made, though. I don't know if they can, though, because I think they're classified as livestock. So livestock rules are, I guess you can abuse livestock, but you can't abuse pets. So I don't know how far that investigation is going to go, if they could even make an arrest. I do want to talk about something called the bucking strap, which I just very recently learned about. I don't know if anybody here has heard about the bucking strap, but the bucking strap is a strap that they tie around it's like considered the waist, but the way that the genitalia of the bulls works is basically it's cutting off their private parts, and then they yank on the rope, and then they open the gates, and then the riders get, they're riding the bull that's super angry because of the bucking strap. So I always thought that they were just mad because the people were riding them, but no, it's actually, from what my understanding, is because of the bucking strap being tightened around their genitalia. So I would just maybe recommend that maybe the city maybe looks into that. Maybe they could have more humane ways to treat the animals in the rodeo. And this is in regards to the California Rodeo Association, not the subgroup. This is anybody that has any events with animals. Maybe we could just look into that. I think this is another reminder on why we need more oversight on the rodeo, because they did rent to this group. At the end of the day, they are profiting from renting to this group. They did allow this group to come in to our city and do this. So they should have some level of responsibility for allowing that. So I just want to just throw that out there too. That's pretty much it. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, City Council members. My name is Roy Lopez. I live here in Salinas, California. The reason I'm here is to come to a different issue. I'm having actually an issue with my neighbors right across where I live. They're always throwing in loud music. Very annoying. It's very, I can't even sleep. And so the reason I'm here is that I called the police department concerned about that issue, that problem. They don't respond to my calls. I've been calling them a few times, and they say they're going to send someone down there, and they don't, okay? And I'm fed up, because these people right across where I live right across the street from them, and they do parties every weekend, and the music, you can hear it all the way. I don't know where at, but it's so loud, it's very annoying, and I'm fed up with, because I called the law enforcement, nothing. They say they're going to send someone down there, and they don't. That's what I get a response from the dispatch. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I don't see, Mr. Mayor, if there's something you could do about it, because and city council members, because that's true. No, that's a big problem for me. I just ride across the street. I'm a homeowner, so that's why. And so I just don't like that.
We got your name and make sure we have your address.
Okay then. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time, Mayor and city council member. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Peter Zalai. The city attorney and city manager have said candidates may use city resources to campaign, may not use city resources to campaign. During public comment, a candidate may not identify himself as a candidate, wear a campaign name tag, or even wear campaign clothing. Fair enough. City resources should serve the public, not anyone's campaign. That is why the city's recent social media activity raises a legitimate question. Over the past few weeks, the mayor has become remarkably visible on city and city-affiliated platforms. Videos, business spotlights, community appearances, and program promotions. The mayor seemingly everywhere. Much of that is good. A mayor should support local businesses, explain city programs, visit neighborhoods, and help residents connect with their government. But timing matters. When city-supported visibility rises dramatically, just as an election approaches, residents are entitled to ask where public information ends and political advantage begins. I'm not alleging that any particular video violates the law. I am asking for clear, neutral standards. Who decides which elected officials are featured? What public purpose does each appearance serve? Are the same standards applied throughout the term and to every elected official? The issue is not whether the mayor should be visible. He should be. The issue is whether city communications are guided by the public interest or by the political calendar.
Hello, council members and mayor. My concern is simple. I passed 5 automatic license plate readers on my way here. 5. You can't enter or exit the city of Salinas without being surveilled. This surveillance system is not just for Salinas PD. I hope everyone knows that this can be searched from any police department outside of this district. My concern is simple. Where's the evidence that supports that the expansive surveillance makes us safer? There's, in December 2023, City Council blindly approved the flock cameras. 5 years. In 5 years, which is the election year 2028, it's a big year, I need transparency from the City Council, from Salinas PD. I came during the police committee, community advisory committee, and the assistant chief wouldn't dare look at me and speak directly at me when I spoke about my concerns. I just want you guys to think about that a little more. Thank you.
Certainly flock cameras, data centers, ICE facilities, big on people's minds. Wes Weiss, Salinas Bonner County Homeless Union co-president, as well as just community enthusiast. It's the election time, so I was actually thinking about how I started in this. You know, it was actually this ties falls into it because I'm a Christian, sorry. But you know, you're supposed to choose a cross over the dollar, yet timelessly. Oh man, I wish you guys would have jersey jackets that would show what your sponsorship looks like, you know, for 1.7 million or what. But it's about people, for me, community enthusiast. And when I prick me for a nickel, prick me for a dime, but then what happened next? You started attacking people directly, and I got to get in front of that, and that's when this homeless union thing started. Here we are 12 years later. I tried running in 2016, and what happened? I couldn't prove my address. You can register to vote, but you can't run for office. So what kind of voice does anybody living outside who's leaseless actually have? They don't have any, obviously. That's why you just run it over. What's the casino of this culture? It's profiteering pirates all the way. Hey, if you don't got a lease, well then obviously you can't show me your papers, which means I can take everything you got. Every time I see you, every day. People are not homeless, they are leaseless. And there are more people becoming leaseless because of the way the rent's rising, which is why we gotta protect Salinas renters as well. Animal cruelty also plays a part in this because of how we treat people. As soon as we can dehumanize anything, everything, no more empathy, everything we need to know and use in our life, we learned in kindergarten and preschool. And society's been beating it out of us ever after because it's a white man's culture with a white man's dollar, and nobody else is supposed to hold that dollar but a white man. And that's the way we're trying to make it. Just love how you guys are all MAGA crazy. You love it. Business. And who's that here locally? Taylor Farms. Who's that here locally? Property managers. And you guys are fully sold and bought out by it, and we need to replace you all with a brand new council.
Thank you so much.
She'll bring it down.
Oh, good. So fancy. To the diocese, my name is Miriam Smith, and I just want to say to everybody on the diocese, and even the people here, help me a minute and pinch yourself. And did you pinch yourself? And I just want to say that you're human. I'm human. And so I'm here because I want to know there's people running in this election, and I want to know the people that are running in this election, do they care about every human being? And is every human being important? And what are we going to do about the human beings that we keep kicking to the curb because they are less fortunate, because they are unhoused, or because they are poor? Do we continue to kick them to the curb? Today it's them. Tomorrow it could be you. In many cases, it happens like that. I want to commission the Salinas City Council and Mayor to look at the program that's going on in Marin County. They have been working so diligently with I mean, they have oppositions now. I'm not saying they don't, but they've been working with the homeless. The homeless don't have to be a sore thumb or a red flag or a disgrace or somebody to kick to the curb. If you just pinch yourself, they're human just like you. And I just want to say that this city is the largest city in Monterey County and should lead by example in what they do with the homeless. And all the things that's been done in the past with the homeless, money's running out. Find money. I don't care where it comes from, find money, because homeless people are human beings and we need to treat them as that and respect them. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Attorney, City Manager. My name is Joel Hernandez Laguna. I'm the Executive Director at the Center for Community Advocacy. I'm here to make two comments. First one is congratulations on the Alebrijes y Nahuales exhibition that's happening across our city. I think that's a huge partnership that continues to reinforce our sister cities with Guanajuato, Mexico. The second is on the Parks and Recs Coalition. So the Center for Community Advocacy and other organizations have come together to form this Parks and Recs Coalition. The intention behind the coalition is to really bring up to light and bring resources to our parks and recreational departments. And that's because I truly believe, and the coalition believes, that that really provides a safe space and provides opportunities for a better health outcomes for residents of Salinas. One of the things that the coalition really wants to express is do an analysis or an assessment of what are the staff and the resources needed to comply, to make sure that our parks and recreational facilities have the adequate staff to host those. And so we know that we have an expansion of El Claustro Park, we have an expansion of now Hebron Center, we have Ensign Community Park that's 67 acres that are expanding, we have the soccer complex that's also expanding. So what is it going to take as a city for us to have the staff and the resources and the volunteers as nonprofit organizations? How can we support to provide volunteers that help maintain our parks at a good standard? So that's the reason for my public comment. So have a great day and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks.
Karen Cameron, concerned Salinas resident. First, I'm concerned of the meeting time change, no notice. It was very inconvenient. I scrambled to get here. I thought I'd comment on Zoom, but it's not accessible on the calendar right now, and very little information is out there, so you seem to be having some dysfunction with your website, which makes it further inaccessible to public commenting. I'm here because I'm upset about the amount of methomyl applications that are happening now as we speak. I had a conversation with our Monterey County Ag Commissioner Juan Hidalgo this week. We spoke for about 20 minutes. He admitted to me we're in peak season, and that's why I filed a complaint after receiving 10 notifications in less than a week. This is happening at University Park School, where I got all this data, over 50 notifications since May 10th. Same at McKinnon Elementary, I believe 2 less there. School is starting this week. We had a lengthy conversation about how this impacts school. But he admitted that we're in the peak season and that this may not die down until September, October. So what is happening right now to protect the school kids and the teachers, not to mention the residents nearby? I live within 1 mile, so I'm being affected by all of that. I know personally I've gotten sick seasonally. It's no coincidence, and I'm sure I'm not alone. So this is a serious problem. I urge every one of you to have personal conversations with the Monterey County Ag Commissioner, since he is the one signing off on all of this and the one responsible for every bit of it at the end of the day. I understand he has a huge job trying to manage a $4.8 billion industry and to answer to each of you, not to mention the big ag companies. I get that. It can't be easy. He has the most difficult job in the world. I don't know how he sleeps at night. But we have a reality that we're dealing with here. Methylmalonate SP, methylmalonudrin SP, banned in 50 countries for toxicity. Do the research.
Thank you.
Please speak out.
Anyone on, all right, anyone on Zoom? Is it not working?
Yes, hello?
Hi, yes.
Yes, I'm calling to make a comment about the video that went viral showing people abusing the bull at the Salinas Sports Complex for reacting to the pain of the bucking strap. That was on city land. The Salinas Police Department and SPCA have been opening their investigations, and that's great, but this isn't a one-off occurrence. What happened to that bull was shocking to watch, but the truth is rodeos are built on causing animals pain. Bucking straps are cinched around the horse to the bull's abdomen, and you know what happens now. Specifically, it's causing distress and forcing the animal to buck. That's the intention of the strap. The Animal Welfare Act does not even cover any rodeos or farm animals, and cities across the country have figured this out. Los Angeles voted unanimously to ban rodeos. Pasadena, Irvine, Chino Hills right here in California have already banned them. Pittsburgh banned the bucking strap and the electric prods. This is a growing national movement, and Salinas is sitting on the wrong side. I was protesting at the last rodeo, and people overwhelmingly agreed with us. They came for the entertainment and the community, not the displays of animal abuse and rider injury. So what happened at this event was not even a California rodeo production, but the CRA sublet the public facility to a third party with no city approval required. The Oversight Committee that's supposed to govern this lease has not met consistently since 2010, and a member who asked basic questions about the money was removed. The city's already had to recover funds owed from ticket surcharges. So as a county resident and someone who's dedicated themselves to human rights and animal welfare, I'm asking this council to hold a public hearing on this lease, require the Oversight Committee to meet publicly as it's already obligated to do, and ensure the city has a final say over who uses the public property and what happens to animals on it. Thank you.
Nydia?
¿Me escucha?
Sí, te escuchamos.
Ok. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Nidia Soto, organizadora con BHC. Quiero compartir que estoy orgullosa. Participé en una junta de la reunión pasada de Alisal Vibrante, del Plan Vibrante Alisal. Hoy me siento muy emocionada porque está a la vuelta de la esquina la apertura de la inauguración del Cluster Park y me llena de alegría saber que su gran apertura pues se acerca, ¿verdad?, a la comunidad. También celebramos el trabajo comunitario y los frutos que está dando en el esfuerzo con este concilio. También los invitamos a que mañana vengan a presenciar la inauguración de la obra en el Parque Gavilán. En el Distrito 2 será a las 5 de la tarde en el 263 del Toro Avenue. Todos están invitados. Y un agradecimiento especial para la concejal de Arrigo y el manejador de la ciudad, René Méndez. Tuvimos una junta ayer con el equipo de vecindarios prósperos, hablando sobre temas de seguridad, importancia que le importa al Distrito 5, le llama la atención a toda la ciudad de Salinas. Queremos agradecer por eso y pues también resaltar la exposición internacional de pequeños alebrijes y nahuales. Fue algo grandísimo, muy emocionante, muy bello la semana pasada. Gracias por todo lo que hacen y pues aquí estamos a seguirle en colaboración. Gracias.
Good afternoon. My name is Nidia Soto, and I'm an organizer with BHC. First of all, I want to say that I'm very proud. I was in the last Alisal Vibrancy Plan meeting, and I'm so excited to see that the opening of Cluster Park is here. I'm really happy because it's something for the community. It's something that we should all celebrate, and I'm happy to see this finally happening. Also, we are working with the community, and I also want to invite you all because tomorrow, District 2 in Parque Gavilan, there's going to be a play at 5 p.m., and you guys are all invited. It is going to be in 263 Del Toro Avenue, and I really want to thank you all and invite you cordially. I want to thank Councilmember Arriago and also Manager Rene Mendez. Yesterday, we had a very a meeting that brought a lot of fruit. We joined with Thriving Neighborhoods, and we talked about a lot of issues that are important for District 5. We talked about security and how we can improve that. So we're really happy and really appreciative of their time. I also want to mention about the Alebrijes exposition. It is beautiful. It is something that really excites me, and I'm happy to see it. And thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, Lucina, did I get that right?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, you're on.
Oh, thank you. Good evening. Again, my name is Lucina, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Salinas Parks and Recreation Coalition. Again, it's a partnership of community organizations committed to expanding access to quality parks, recreation, and open spaces throughout our city. I first want to thank the city manager, Rene Mendez, and city staff for meeting with our coalition on July 14. We appreciated the opportunity to have an open and productive conversation about the future of parks and recreation in Salinas and the staffing needed to support our growing park system. Our city park and recreation spaces have increased in the last 5 years. The coalition would like to encourage the city of Salinas to conduct an assessment of the parks and recreation staffing goals and targets. Establishing a long-term staffing plan is an important step toward ensuring our parks and recreation facilities receive the care they need as our community continues to grow. At the same time, the coalition wants to reaffirm our request that the city funds 2 additional parks and recreation positions during this fiscal year, including the senior park maintenance supervisor identified by staff as a priority. As new parkland comes online, including Ensign Park, and as more residents rely on parks and recreation programs, maintenance staff is essential to protecting the city's investment and providing safe, welcoming public spaces for everyone. Our coalition represents organizations that collectively serve thousands of residents every year. We see firsthand how parks and recreation improve physical and mental health, provide opportunities for youth and families, strengthen neighborhoods, and contribute to Salinas' economic vitality. These benefits are only possible when our public spaces are properly maintained and supported by adequate staffing. We appreciate the city's continued partnership with the coalition and your...
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jennifer.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and council members. This is Jennifer Vasquez. I am speaking on behalf of Bixter Land Trust, as well as the Salinas Parks Coalition, and Friends of Ensign volunteers and our interns. I am here once again to, respectfully request funding for 2 additional staff for our maintenance of parks within the city. This request we've made before, and we continue to do so because we really see this as a vital function within our city. These positions are critical not only for maintaining the parks we have today, but also for supporting the continued growth of our park system, the quality of life of our residents, and the city's broader economic development goals. These additional staff would help reflect and support the ongoing partnership between the City of Salinas and Bixter Land Trust, which has been wonderful over the years that we've worked on Ensign Community Park. This will also be essential as the city prepares to take ownership of 67 additional acres of parkland, representing a $40 million investment in our community. These 67 acres will be transferred to the city this September ahead of the grand opening celebration on September 20th. We invite all of you and the public to join us in celebrating this milestone. So our park system grows, so must our capacity to care for it. We urge you to invest in these 2 additional positions for parks maintenance to help ensure these community assets remain safe, welcoming, and well-maintained for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, we will close public comment. Thank you, everyone. And we will proceed to a presentation item to council. Hamina, we're looking for you, and we're going to, apparently there's some Turner Scholar in the room.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jimena Mesa, and I had the honor of serving as a mentor for our ICMA Bob Turner Scholars this summer. And today, I'd like to share a little bit about what the Bob Turner internship is all about. Just to give a little background, this is the 3rd year that our city has participated in the program, and this year we had 5 interns. The internship is designed to introduce young people to local government and help them gain a better understanding of how cities serve their communities. It also gives them the opportunity to build professional connections, receive mentorship from city staff, and develop valuable leadership skills. Overall, the program helps inspire the next generation of public servants and sets them up for future success. On the map here, you can see all the cities that participated in this year's ICMA Bob Turner internship program. Throughout the summer, the interns collaborated with students from across the country to create public service announcement presentations. And I'm especially proud to share that our interns were the only participants representing the West Coast this year. And we are all super proud of everything that they've accomplished. And then this imagery here is our interns from this year, as well as our past 2 years interns, just to show how far the program has come. And now, without further ado, I'd like to hand over the presentation to our interns.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Audrey DeCarly, and I will be a senior at Salinas High School, and I want to major in agricultural communications.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Brian Garcia. I'm a freshman and will be attending CSUMB, majoring in psychology.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Marisol Mederos, and I just recently graduated from Alisal High School, and I'm going to be attending UCLA in the fall, with my major being political science.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Aiden Cruz. I'm an incoming sophomore at Cal Poly SLO, and I major in economics.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Shiv Patel, and I'm a sophomore accounting student at Cal State Monterey Bay.
Social media communications plans. Social media and research support. We evaluated past social media content to identify what was working well and where there were opportunities to improve engagement and within the community. Based on our research, we recommended a new social media strategy focusing on creating more engagement, informative, and community-centered content. We also created a 4th of July safety campaign to educate residents on celebrating responsibly and keeping both people and pets safe during the holidays. One of my projects was partnering with a local animal shelter to create a video promoting pet safety. As an animal lover myself, this project was especially meaningful to me because it allowed me to spread awareness about protecting animals and encouraging responsible pet care. These projects overall helped strengthen my communication skills, content creation, and connecting within the community itself. Next up is Audrey.
During our 8-week summer internship, we created a strategic communications plan for the Public Works Department. We began by evaluating Public Works communication on our city's social media. This helped us identify strengths, communication gaps, and opportunities to make the Public Works Department more visible and engaging. We then researched best practices for social media to help us develop our plan. We outlined main goals for the campaign, including visibility and education. We also created a plan to showcase different areas of Public Works, including maintenance operations and employee spotlights. We also developed a posting schedule through a structured content calendar with reoccurring posts. We then presented our plan to the city manager for review and recommendations. Recommendations from our team include increased timeliness in sharing information so residents can learn about Public Works projects as soon as possible through multiple media formats. This includes content like highlighting staff through images, short and long-form videos, infographics, and articles on the city website. We also recommend a monthly communications report, an annual communications update to City Council, and use of the title Service in Action to allow us to expand content beyond Public Works. Next up, Marisol is going to talk a little bit about our strategic branding initiative.
Our biggest project that we oversaw as interns was creating a strategic branding initiative. We focused on the question, how can the city align community identity with its economical development goals? As the city grows and more art exhibits start arising, our vibrancy plan, and we have more community opportunities, we want to focus on future city branding becoming fundamental to create a connection aligning with community culture and the growing city. Our goal for this initiative is to create community pride and market the city's economical development. So as we started this project, we conducted researches on lessons to be learned and things to incorporate in this initiative. We found that community engagement and outreach is very important through the whole process. We also found that visual representation and creating a roadmap is also pivotal for this project. Some cities that we researched for best practices include City of Corona, which had 2,200 and plus residents with different demographics being represented in our rebranding process, which showed a positive impact. Then after we researched City of Visalia, where they had minimal community input, which caused them to have 2 branding initiatives. Furthermore, we also researched 50 plus cities and we connected with 7. We also met with Elk Grove's graphic designer, which had more than 30 years of experience, which suggested our city to have a circle shape to be easier to transfer for digital marketing, while she also evaluated our current city logo, which she applied the color theory and design incorporations to the new branding. So our proposal and recommendation would be a 6-phase initiative. Our first phase would be the planning and research of the city, where we would grab information and define the goals for the project. Our second phase would be the community engagement, which is the most pivotal phase. We recommend collecting feedback through surveys, workshops, and public meetings to ensure that residents feel like their voices is heard through the whole process. Then after, our third phase would be the logo concepts, using the community feedback that we've gathered from phase 2 and create 3 ops to the logo. Our fourth phase would be to have the community have a vote on which logo they would like to be implemented to the city. We would consult with graphic designers in order for the logo to hold basic standards as well. Our fifth phase would finalize the design and adopt a new logo and get it approved, while our final 6th phase would be the rebranding, which would include the website, social media, and digital branding. By establishing a cohesive city brand, the city can support local business, attract new investments, and stimulate economical development. As this project demonstrates how strategic branding can support community pride and economical development. And I would like to now transition to our economical development interns who would share their project.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Aiden Cruz. I led as the Customer Research and Experience Lead.
And I'm Shiv Patel. I led as the Community Engagement and Analysis Lead.
Shiv and I chose economic development as a way to connect our current business education to a real-world opportunity that could serve our community. The opportunity ended up being our final project, which revolved around one question: how can Salinas become easier to do business with? As we tried to find the answer to this question, we wanted to look at it through the eyes of a business owner. So we held 17 total interviews, including businesses ranging from type, age, location, and non-English speaking, meeting with other economic development departments to learn their process, and then finally internal departments to learn the Salinas process.
After speaking with these business owners, we learned that the process itself is functional with real opportunity for growth. Internally, we created a journey map and an opportunity analysis across the 4 core phases: permit, plan, permit, launch, and grow, which provided insight into where specifically these opportunities exist. One such opportunity is increasing awareness of the resources already available, so business owners know exactly where to turn at each step. Beyond that, a second opportunity we found is making sure business owners feel more connected and supported by the city throughout the process. In benchmarking other cities, including Long Beach and Mountain View, we found they address the same information gap through having a single point of contact and proactive outreach. This confirmed the value was in navigation and relationship building, which is exactly what shaped our following recommendation.
That recommendation being what we built, the Salinas Business Success Toolkit. It came from real interviews and is from active business owners today. It's designed to be used day one, and it has been designed with ease of use and plain language. The first page you're going to see is a startup roadmap. It's supposed to be a brief guide, especially as we design the packet to progress in depth of information page by page.
From there, the toolkit moves into the business navigation guide, which lays out each of the 9 steps across the 4 phases in plain language, so a business owner can follow the process step by step without needing prior knowledge of city procedure.
We then have a map of city limits. We found that there was a common question of am I in Salinas from business owners, so we created a visual answer. Not only did we save time from city staff, but also for business owners as well.
The toolkit then expands further into a permit and licensing overview, which walks through each required permit and license in sequence, along with additional steps for businesses that hire employees, for businesses that serve or sell food, for businesses that sell alcohol, or for businesses that operate from home.
Then we also have an FAQ section. It has real questions from active business owners in Salinas today.
Rounding out the toolkit is a department contact directory and a resource directory, which gives business owners direct points of contact within the city, as well as outside resources for funding, advising, and workforce support, so they are never left wondering where to turn next.
Ending off the toolkit is a checklist. We wanted to create an interactive way for starting up entrepreneurs to know where to go next.
Moving forward, we recommend the City of Salinas to publish this toolkit on a small business webpage and distribute it broadly, whether it's at community events, workshops, city offices, or at the point of license renewal. We also recommend translating the toolkit into multiple languages, including Spanish, given how many of the business owners we spoke to preferred or needed bilingual materials. Lastly, we recommend assigning ownership of the toolkit to a specific staff member or a staff team so that contacts, fees, and program details are reviewed and updated regularly as those change. We came in asking how to make Salinas easier to do business with, and we're now leaving with a toolkit that we believe answers just that. And we hope that it means that the next person with an idea and a leap of faith knows exactly where to turn.
We would love to just say thank you for this opportunity to council, to ICMA, and to the city, as well as our direct mentors, Jimena Puga, Nathan Q, Sophia Rome, and Jasmine Medrano. We're all very grateful for this privilege to serve our community, and we're open to any questions and comments at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, this is not an action item. If there are questions or comments from council, Andrew?
Yeah, this is an amazing presentation. I have seen a significant improvement, especially in information regarding our Public Works Department and projects. Usually is my number one question I get is, well, what's happening here? And so I've really seen a significant improvement. Speaking about the toolkit, you know, I recently saw this video on Salinas Fool where Benjamin and James went around Alisal and they were asking residents, businesses if they knew about our facade improvement program, and the majority didn't. And so, you know, seeing how you guys are presenting the information and just having it all in one place where people can find it, I think is great. I think it's also a great idea to have a designated small business website where people can go, because believe it or not, exactly the way you described it, people will contact, well, how do I get my business license? Okay, well, I got that. Now where do I go next? So this is really great. I'm in full support of the launching of the toolkit and displaying that. I think that's great. I also think it's important to have a cohesive approach to our branding. I know a lot of our different departments have different looks, and even the messaging is not very coordinated, so I think that would help with brand awareness and just a better messaging to the community. So I think you all did amazing. I look forward to implementing this same kind of practice that you did across various things in the city of Salinas. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Tony, anything?
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Mendez, as I'm listening to these young professionals, this awesome work, talking to the real stakeholders of Salinas, the people we work for, this is not going to go anywhere unless you embrace it. And we're here to support you as a city manager, but I have to tell you, with my experience being up here, there's awesome information that's given to this council, and it goes up on the shelf somewhere. I don't want this to go up on the shelf. I mean, this is amazing, and you know what really strikes me here? Economic development, and Mr. Mendez, your staff, I'm looking at Mr. Wiles, I'm thinking of other people. If the staff, if the professional staff does not buy into it, it's not going to go anywhere. When people come to City Hall, they should feel like we work for them, not like we work, not that they work for us. But Mr. Mendez, economic development, how can Salinas become easier to do business with? I think we're just giving, this is a treasure, and I mean this. This is simple, it's easy to understand, but now the professionals that work for the city manager, they have to implement it and they have to run with it. So just really quick, Mr. Mendez, what do you see from here as far as how we're going to make it work?
Well, so if you take apart the recommendations, a lot of some of the public works messaging and branding is starting to be utilized and used. Sophia and her team is using it. Been working with the Inter, so we'll continue to grow that. When it pertains to the branding, that's something that's going to be a much more extensive effort, so we need to bring it back. The next sort of part is Sophia's team will look at sort of a budget, an approach, and all of that, taking what's been recommended and bring that back to the council. And then when you look at the small business and that's going to be implemented by the economic development team and Nathan. So that will be up on our website, that will be pushed out. And then we also have the business navigation position that will be front and center on a lot of that. So the short answer to your question is all three things are going to be done. One, it's easier to do the work done by our college interns, which is great work. Yes. Perspective. The input on the branding, again, took it from a different vantage point. They're in social media, they kind of see that a lot more than me and you do. We always complain that we just can't keep up with the current messaging. So I think that's going to be acted on. And the actual logo and messaging, Councilmember Sandoval is correct. We've tried to keep it sort of together, but it's a little bit distance and not connected. So that's going to take a wider effort working with the council and the community.
Great, thank you. And by the way, I love those suits. Look sharp. Thank you.
Jose?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for taking the time to do your summer internships with the City of Salinas. Special shout out to Shiv Patel and Aiden Cruz for indulging me with what was supposed to be a 30-minute meeting, but turned into an hour of kind of like me just talking with you guys. But I got to actually see the Salinas Business Success Toolkit, the beta version. So really excited to see it be implemented. Lots of great information, and happy to see it end up published by our Economic Development Department. I know our city is working very closely with our IT division to make sure that it's all accessible online as well. And all those language translation features that are already integrated into our website will definitely help out with streamlining that bilingual availability of these resources for our community. And then just one very quick question. I know we're kind of a little bit tight on time, but for all of you, very briefly, after this internship, could you see a career in local government?
For sure. When I first came into this internship, I had little idea of what local government was. And through these past 8 weeks, I would like to say I'm definitely considering a career in local government. And my reasoning for that is simple. It's giving back to my community.
I would like to add on and speak from my perspective as well. Before this internship, I would have had no clue about local government, what it was, what we did, and had no interest in working for local government. I will say, leaving this experience, it was truly shaping of how I could see my career in the future and hopefully come back to a community, especially like Salinas. You know, giving back to business owners and seeing throughout those interviews that we were making a real impact, especially to places that we've eaten at before. It really stands out to me and just emphasizes that this is a real community that I can give back to.
Audrey?
I want to pursue a career in communications, and I'm thinking agricultural communications, and working in this internship with the communications team for the city has definitely shown me a career option that I could have, and it has been a really great experience for me.
I definitely see myself having a career path in local government. I've always been interested, and I like making an impact in my community.
I would say yes, I would see myself working within local government, especially I love the community itself and learning how in depth it really goes. It has really been fulfilling for myself, and it has been an awesome experience.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your service.
All right. Thank you. Aurelio?
I think we should just go ahead and accept their resumes right now and start hiring them. I wanted to talk about, I think it's slide number 14, the Small Business Success Toolkit. Thank you for sharing that with us and sharing with us like your vision. A lot of organizations, immediately we would look at this and we would identify it as a work plan. So knowing that you guys went through this whole process and brought this information back and essentially sharing with us a work plan and taking something so complex and putting it all on one slide amongst the other slides in your presentation. I just want to thank you for that. I had the same question, just wanted to know if any of you also had an interest in government. When it comes to government, one of the things that we always have to keep in mind is just who is in our community, what are our different sectors. And so I think regardless of what career route you go, again, my hope is that you come back to Salinas and make Salinas your home, but we're always going to be in need of leaders in the education system, in our healthcare system, in our business, albeit, if it's a small mom and pop's business or a larger business. Also, agriculture, who knows where technology is going to be at as we see Silicon Valley making inroads into San Bernardino County and Monterey County. All of that are things that are going to impact you in terms of how this city is going to look and the employment opportunities that are going to be there and the careers and the families that hopefully all of you will plant your roots here in Salinas. Over the years, I did various scholarship fundraising and would always see our local youth kind of graduate, go off, and not come back. And so again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, we really want you to come back, make Salinas home, learn whatever it is in terms of whatever respective college you go to. And like you said, it's all about giving back to our community. I'm just very inspired by your presentation tonight. And thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Rita. Gloria?
Thank you. Thank you. Great presentation, great work. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. And I'm going to echo the other council members that you come back. You come back to Salinas after you get educated, okay? I wish you well, and thank you. Thank you again for all these fabulous ideas. Now we need to implement them. Thank you.
Margaret?
Thank you, guys. Great teamwork. I just wanted to comment on the presented the plan to the city manager, so I'm looking at Renee too, Mr. Mendez, and saying now we need to make sure it trickles down, because I think really all of us up here need to see the report in detail and embrace it and buy into it, as well as the community included. And So I look forward to seeing the results of your research and your recommendations in more detail. I just want to make sure when we go out to the community that it's a very inclusive process. It's really hard to get people to engage, and I think this is something that people in the community would get behind and would spend the time to put their energy into it. I love that how can Salinas become easier to do business with? To me, that's $1 million question. I ask myself that every day. How can we make it easier for people to live and work here? And then I'm really curious, I'm sure it's in your report somewhere, how do business owners feel more connected to the city? How do we accomplish that? I would love to hear your recommendations on that, and not tonight, but in the report. And if not, we'll reach out to you, because I think, again, that's a really important question that we need to answer. And we need to make sure that we talk a lot about customer service and inclusiveness. And those are some challenges that we have at the city, and then just communicating what's happening internally as well as externally to all of our residents. So thank you very much for your time and your commitment, and best of luck to all of you.
Thank you.
I think it's pretty much all been said, so I'll just echo everyone here on the dais. So thank you, well done, and we'll look forward to next steps, so thank you. With that, so you're all set, and thanks for, yes, you may. What's that?
The blacks.
And before you go, it wasn't on my notes, so okay. All right, we're gonna have each of you come up, and we do have certificates for you, and that's also the photo op. So why don't we have the council get in front, and then get some certificates.
I know it's the city manager.
All right, we will be continuing the consent agenda till the meeting on the 18th, and we will proceed to public hearings. And while everybody is in transit, Ernesto, you may make your way to the podium, and we will be finishing up with the extension of the urgency interim ordinance prohibiting the issuance of tobacco retailer licenses. So we'll let everyone get back to their seat and then let you get started.
Hi, good afternoon, City Council, Manager, City Manager, Mayor. Ernesto Lizaola, Assistant to the City Manager. Today, we are here today to present and propose an extension to the urgency interim ordinance number 2697, which was issued to prohibit the issuance of tobacco retail licenses citywide for 45 days. And so this would be an extension of that to a time not to exceed 10 months and 15 days. And this will be to allow time, additional time to research and develop a comprehensive regulatory framework for issuance of tobacco retail license citywide. As a background, the original interim ordinance was approved on June 30th of this year, and it was for a period of 45 days. That is set to expire on August 12th, unless we extend that today for an additional 10 months and 15 days.
Very good. All right, any questions or comments from council? Anything? I saw Jose first, so Jose, then Tony.
Okay. I just have one comment. My one comment / request would be that we also reach out to all the other cities in Monterey County, plus the county, to see if, like, we would be interested in making it kind of like a coalition, or like a movement of like being a tobacco-free community. So it's not just City of Salinas, because we know even if we establish the city itself as like a tobacco-free community, we enact this ordinance whenever it comes back, we still have other jurisdictions around us that may or may not be selling tobacco or issuing tobacco licenses. So to whatever extent we're able to reach out to them proactively, so it can be done kind of like in alignment with them as well.
Okay, thank you, Jose. Tony?
Mr. Lizaola, thank you for heading this up, and I think it's going to be great for the community. I mean, it's important that we protect families and not over-regulating business, but trying to figure out how we can make our neighborhood safer. So thank you.
I have a comment.
Okay, Andrea, anything? Okay, all right.
Yeah. And my comment would be, again, to thank you, and I want to thank the Monterey County Tobacco Coalition. I know Gonzalo is out there, Gonzalo Coronel, and, you know, the partnership and Sun Street Centers, the parts and all that group, and of course yourself, and that, yes, we really need to look at this seriously, because we're not against, I'm not against small businesses, but I am against some of the businesses where they want to do business. And I think we as a city need to protect our residents of especially something like this that we're looking at right now, that, you know, these type of businesses, myself, I think they do not belong near schools. And that's why we have brought this forward. And I'm very pleased the action that we're taking. Thank you.
Anyway, Margaret.
Quick comment. So last night at the meeting that we had with BHC, they were the collaborator, and there was a lot of concern about safety for teens and youth, and this came up several times. So it is top of mind. There are a lot of people in the community that don't agree with them, especially where they're being placed. So I'm really glad that we're extending and we're going to do it right and put something really solid into place. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Having worked for Sun Street Centers and their prevention division, just a tidbit of information I just want to share with like the public and my council members is that from what I recall, when the initial tobacco tax was passed, a lot of that funding went into, you know, prevention measures, right? So again, educating young people and those that I normally call young at heart, you know, just informing them of the detriments of using tobacco and how bad it's for you. With the passage of that tobacco tax, what was also, you know, one of the goals was, you know, in addition to get people to stop smoking, that was also going to have an impact on the funding, right? So as people stop smoking, that meant that over the years, funding would decline for such preventative measures that we see coming out of the different like counties, departments. So we shouldn't be too surprised as we see like, you know, hey, we may need to be a little bit more proactive in our position and stance on, in this case, retail licenses. I know that some of us had a number of concerns regarding one in particular that was a little bit too near Ensign Park. And so as this gets developed, if I can go ahead and chime in now, I think what a lot of us want to see or don't want to see is retail licenses being awarded to businesses in such a close proximity to schools. Could be something as like arcades or movie theaters or wherever, we're likely to see young people. Again, if an individual chooses to smoke, that is entirely on them. But in terms of our position, in terms of protecting the health and well-being of young people, it's something that we don't want to start marketing to them at an early age. And so, tobacco and tobacco politics has had a long history. Some of us may recall that even past U.S. Surgeon Generals, would quote and say smoking is glamorous, but we're absolutely against that. Is that correct? I see a member of the audience agreeing with what I'm saying, so thank you. And I'll go ahead and conclude there.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go out. Any comments from the public on this item?
Good afternoon, Jose Garrett, Montebello community. I think it's a great idea. We finally started doing some of this pushback on just giving anybody a license and looking at everything as a profit. We gotta stop doing that, because when we do things looking as a profit, we create a problem where healthcare is an issue here. Tobacco is a big healthcare issue. And if we stop doing that, looking at it as a profit, look at, avoiding it, we save money for the community and, and the whole country actually. And I'm glad that you brought it up. We should have one of these downtown. That way when people have a drink, they can go have a smoke. Don't put them in our neighborhoods. I just found one on Del Monte the other day. I couldn't believe it. They changed San Martin Market, where I grew up, on Del Monte, into a smoke shop. I could not believe it. Full blown. I couldn't believe it. It's ridiculous. I mean, don't put them on the east side anymore, guys. Find somewhere else to put them, please. Yeah. Put them in your neighborhoods where you live. Put them in Carmel, wherever you live. And I don't know where you guys live. Shoot, Watsonville, Soledad, Gonzales. Put them there. I don't see too many out there. Put them in King City. Put them in Monterey. Seriously, guys, stop putting stuff in our backyards. Our kids don't need to be influenced by that. Ben, if we have all the liquor and all the gun stores everywhere. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. God bless you. And thank you, sir, for doing that, man. That's a good thing. Thank you.
Hi, Council. Daniel Munoz, East Salinas resident. I kind of find it's kind of comical how everybody's here. We have an urgency interim ordinance for tobacco, but nothing for pesticides. Nothing for pesticides. No urgency ordinance for pesticides here in the city of Salinas. You talk about protecting kids. Cigarette smoke, at the end of the day, it's an individual choice. Whether it's right or wrong, it's an individual choice. Pesticide breathing in the air, that's not a choice. Our kids are being poisoned every single day that they spray methamil, fumigants, whatever they're using out here. I just got notifications today they're going to spray at 6 o'clock. Methamil, 1 mile from my house. What do I do about that? Do I close the windows? Do I tell my dogs to pee inside? I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Why isn't there no urgency for the pesticide issue? I don't think it's a coincidence that they donate to a lot of people in the dais. The tobacco industry doesn't donate to any of you guys, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, let's go after tobacco, because that's not a big deal, Nobody's going to cut your donors, right, if you go after the tobacco industry. But everybody's afraid to talk about the pesticides that are being sprayed. Even in the city, Renee, herbicides. You can cut that out today, tomorrow, last week. You could have cut that out, but you still haven't. But you're worried about tobacco. It is an issue, don't get me wrong. Tobacco is an issue, but the pesticides are a bigger issue. People are getting cancer. People are dying directly from this. It takes years to die from cigarette smoke. It takes years to develop the cancer, but the breathing, like I said, we don't have a choice. We have to breathe the air that we live in Salinas regardless. Cigarette smoke is an individual choice. You guys got your priorities all mixed up. And I suggest that you guys get it together, especially the people being funded by Big Ag.
Thank you. All right, anyone on Zoom? All right, seeing nothing on Zoom, we'll bring it back. This is an action item.
Second.
Okay. Patty, go ahead and call for the question.
Councilmember Barajas?
Yes.
Councilmember Barrera?
Yes.
Councilmember DeRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember De La Rosa?
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
Councilmember Sandoval?
Yes.
Mayor Donahue? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Mr. Grossman, you are up next with a really lengthy item on a commercial cannabis permit.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Today we're going to talk about cannabis. This item is Cannabis Permit 2025-004. Next slide, please. Sorry, I got it. Okay, as you all know, and maybe just as a reminder, cannabis is regulated by the city's municipal code. It's contained in Chapter 5. In this case, what we're looking at is an appeal of an appeal. Emerald Skyway, doing business as Valley Farms, and the ownership has changed a little bit since inception, but it originally began what we call operational, our certificate of occupancy status on June 8, 2018. It was operating as a dispensary. Emerald Skyway was originally approved in 2017. It included 4 different components. There was manufacturing, there was cultivation, the dispensary, which was accessory to the manufacturing, and delivery. The location on Moffett Street is zoned IBP. This is where they're relocating from. This is a request for relocation. That particular location on Moffett Street is zoned IBP, which is Industrial Business Park. The application for amendment was submitted in about mid-late 2025. This application is requesting relocation from Moffett Street to 2033 North Main Street. The site where they are going or proposing to go is in a shopping center known as the Northridge Plaza Shopping Center. It's across the street from the Northridge Mall. It's across from Veranda Road, right at North Main Street, more or less the northwest corner of that intersection. Surrounding uses include residential, commercial, and the highway, US 101. In terms of background, these are more or less the high points of various dates. So the slide provides a brief overview of the process chronology. April 13, the City of Salinas Cannabis Selection Committee denied the application for relocation. This is a committee that is more or less administrative within the city. It's made up of city employees from various departments. Decisions on cannabis permits are provided by the selection committee. The selection committee indicated that the proposed site is too close to a school. The municipal code, Chapter 5, indicates proximity or distance requirements from commercial cannabis businesses to what is known as sensitive uses. Sensitive uses are schools and parks, daycares, alcohol licenses, things of that matter. They're specified in the code. In this case, the location was known or noted as 995 feet, which is within 1,000 feet. So the commercial cannabis permit was denied by the committee. April 21, the applicant appealed the selection committee denial. It went to the Planning Commission on June 3rd. The Planning Commission supported the Cannabis Selection Committee and denied again. Then it was appealed, and that's why we are here today. This slide shows the proximity of the proposed site, which is the red area. You can see US 101 underneath the word where it says parcel. North Main is the vertical up and down roadway. Veranda is kind of the angled roadway across from the mall. The site is shown as proximity-wise 995 feet to the school. Additionally, there are other sensitive uses. There are 7 alcohol-related uses. There's a smoke shop, and there is residential adjacent right next door, which is documented and addressed by the police department memorandum. This slide is intended as a more detailed representation of the way distance is measured. In this case, the municipal code indicates that the code shall be inferred or designated as measuring property line to property line, or what we call parcel to parcel, and that is done by a GIS system. The teeny tiny measurement that's between the site and the school actually shows 994 feet, .5. We round up to 995 feet. And this is per the GIS system. The municipal code indicates that the selection committee does have the authority to measure, is in what the code refers to as determine a different point of measure. The selection committee did not. The planning commission did not. The city council today, this afternoon, could measure differently in terms of the school distance. And if so measured differently, then it would be, I think it's like 1,300 feet or something like that. I'd have to look in the actual record, but it would be greater than 1,000 feet. So the school issue would go away. But the school is not the only issue. There are the alcohol licenses and the smoke shop. This slide indicates what happened at the Planning Commission meeting and what the appeal grounds were. So on June 3rd, the Planning Commission upheld the selection committee's denial. The appeal came in, and that was a 4-1 vote. Appeal came in on June 9. Those are the reasons for the appeal. The recommendation is to determine that the project is not a project, that the action is not a project, rather. Staff recommends affirming the selection committees and the Planning Commission's denial of the cannabis permit, which is the relocation from Moffett Street to North Main, due to proximity of sensitive uses. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff's available for questions.
Thank you. All right. Margaret, I'll start with you. Any questions, comments?
Yes, can you just give me a little more detail on it's the Cannabis Selection Committee that can determine a different method? That sounded like a little bit subjective. Can you give us a little bit more background on that versus the parcel to parcel, just so I have a better understanding? I know there was a lot of discussion at the Planning Commission meeting about the difference between parcel to parcel, and I forget the other one. Pardon me for that, but.
Sure. The code section 5-07.27, the last provision in that subsection indicates that the ordinance shall be construed as parcel to parcel in terms of measurement, unless the committee, the selection committee, determines an alternate method. One alternative method could be building to building, for instance.
Yeah, it's the one, yeah.
Yeah, and that measurement methodology results in a number that is compliant with the minimum distance requirements.
Okay. And they did not, so, okay, I understood. Thank you.
Okay. Gloria, anything?
I sat in on that Planning Commission meeting because I had an appointment here in City Hall. So I'm familiar with how it went, but can you remind me, did the applicant have any other areas where he could have gone or where he can go in the city of Salinas? Do we work with a business like this that maybe he needs another alternative location? Do we offer any of that?
Sure. Relocation of a cannabis business is subject to the buffers of what we call distance from sensitive uses. Generally speaking, and we have what is called a GIS app that more or less shows circles or radius measurements around these various sensitive uses. The locations throughout the city are somewhat challenging. I think that is why at the beginning, in the 2017 era, Many of the initial applications were locating in the industrial areas, such as this one was in the IDP location, for instance. There are fewer schools and alcohol licenses in those areas. Over time, and the council may recall, Canna Cruz went through a similar process.
Right.
It was also within proximity of alcohol-sensitive uses, but not within a school. The school was at beyond the 1,000-foot mark. Without looking at every single property in the city, and there are many, the distance to sensitive uses can be challenging for applicants.
Okay, thank you.
No questions. I had an opportunity to look at the planning commission and the committee's comments and work, and so I have no questions at this time.
Okay. Jose?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. Just two questions, and Councilmember De La Rosa, I think, already kind of spoke to it, but how is this any different from the appeal of Canna Cruz since they were next to a sensitive use?
The two processes are very similar. The facts are slightly different. This particular application has, I believe, more sensitive uses, and it's closer to a school.
Yeah, I believe Canna Cruz was only had one alcohol use in close proximity to it, whereas this one has 7 alcohol-related uses and a smoke shop. Is that correct?
There was probably more than one alcohol. The exact numbers, I don't have that information in front of me right now, but I do know that the school is further away, and I do know that the alcohol was, I think there was one right next door, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And then my follow-up question to that is, with the Canna Cruz appeal, and I know we're talking about separate appeals and the facts are slightly different, with the Canna Cruz appeal, the police department, if I remember correctly, provided kind of something to the effect of like, we're signing off on it, like in good faith that we've assessed this and we're good with Canna Cruz going into this additional sensitive use within close proximity. Is there something similar for this appeal?
Yes, in the staff report, there is a police memorandum. And I believe police is here today also, if there are any questions specifically about the memo. The memo is dated March 16, 2026. The police department reviewed the proposed relocation and determined that at the end here, there's a conclusion where they essentially do not, let's see, where was it? There's essentially no reason not to approve, but if approval, then certain conditions are recommended.
Okay.
But I would defer to police for exactly how they got there, but essentially it says, if the permit is approved, Salinas Police Department recommends the following safety measures. And there's about 2 pages of requirements.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Tony?
Mr. Grossman, Mr. Wells, good to see you. Mr. Grossman, earlier today we met some young professionals in front of us, as you probably heard them. How can Salinas become easier to do business with? In reading your report, which is a lot of reading, months of reporting here, there's several months happening here. Do you feel as a city, and probably the city attorney will probably want to get involved in this one, do you feel we did our due diligence with your experience, Mr. Wall's experience, the whole staff's experience? Did we do our due diligence to assist this merchant, whatever happened here? But as I'm reading notes, I'm seeing some different dates that some of these go for weeks and then months. And then Valley Farm says, we relied in good faith on formal zoning verification issued by the city. Mr. Grossman, do you feel we did our due diligence to do the best we could to assist this business?
The process that's embedded in the municipal code requires certain actions occur prior to submitting an application for, in this case, a major amendment. There are zoning information letters which contain an inventory of sensitive uses. That information was provided to the applicant. In fact, back in 2016, there was a zoning information letter for the site at Moffett Street that explained what the requirements were to operate a dispensary in the IBP district. From a city staff perspective, the municipal code and the rules that govern the process have been followed.
Mr. Grossman, I just, and like the city attorney says, I mean, anybody can sue us, but I guess, Mr. Callahan, I'm gonna look to your guidance here. Do you feel, because you know what, as a small merchant, it's easy to come to this place here and you get lost. It's happened to me. But sometimes, depending on who the employee is, you got some good employees here. Then you got other employees that just kind of know you got to go to the next department. We got a mixed bag. But Mr. Callahan, do you think whatever happens with this, because this is hard for me, you know, I'm looking at these letters, and do you feel we did what we had to do, or is there anything else that we can assist this business in?
So, Councilmember, as Mr. Grossman said, I share his opinion that the city staff followed the process that's laid out in the code. In terms of assisting the business, I think that the staff did a lot of work early on in the process and through the process to walk them through those requirements, through the selection committee's consideration, through the planning commission appeal, and now with the city council. So I concur with Mr. Grossman's statements.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Callahan.
Questions? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go out. All right, we'll hear from the applicant. So you've got up to 10 minutes, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, honorable council members, and thanks for having us here today. My name is Gene Stonebarger. I'm the attorney for Emerald Skyway and its owners, Collaboration Ventures Corporation. Also with me today is Mr. Martin Wesley, who's the CEO of Emerald Skyway, doing business as Valley Farms. Importantly, this is a relocation of an existing, pre-existing city-permitted cannabis operation. My clients have made a significant investment into this city, purchasing an existing business for over $3 million, and in the 5 years that follow since 2021, paying more than $585,000 in direct excise taxes to the city. What appeared to be a great partnership. Shortly after the acquisition closed, the city notified the landlord of a zoning defect relating to operation at the existing location. The city's cannabis consultant identified multiple properties to look at. Over 15 were looked at, and this property at 2033 North Main Street was identified as a viable location. After receiving the zoning letter confirming that and showing the building-to-building measurements, our clients entered into a lease for this location at North Main Street. Now, importantly, the selection committee denied this permit on one ground and one ground only. Now, Municipal Code Section 5.07.27A1. Okay, this is the statute and the code at issue that relates to the proper measurement of the distance from a school, the 1,000-foot measurement. Okay? The code is specific. For the purposes of this section, distance shall, which is mandatory, be measured from the closest point of the site occupied by the commercial cannabis business and the closest point of the site occupied by the use defined in Section A, the school, including parking areas, landscaping, and/or fencing, but excluding, mandatory exclusion, excluding any areas of the parcel that is unavailable for use by the commercial cannabis business or sensitive use. mandatory exclusion. It is not code compliant to measure from the parcel line to the parcel line when you're taking into account unavailable use by the cannabis dispensary operation. The building-to-building measurements that were provided by the city on multiple occasions, 2022, just the building-to-building measurements, and in 2025, both the parcel line to parcel line and building-to-building measurements. What was not looked at was the measurement from the available use. This parcel includes, and we've included these maps in our appeal, we've included subsequent certified surveys showing the distance from the school parcel line to the available use is over 1,110 feet outside the 1,000-foot measurement. There is a Denny's that sits on the parcel between the school and the cannabis retail location. The Denny's has a parking lot. We've submitted the letters from the landlord, the acknowledgement of the cannabis retail location, our clients, that they're not allowed to use any of the space that's occupied by Denny's, its parking lot or otherwise. So the measurement is over 1,110 feet as per the city's municipal code. The planning department, the committee did not apply a code compliant measurement in determining the appropriate distance was 995 feet. Now, all of what I just said could have been taken into account on the unavailable use, and the committee, as this council can and should do, is simply apply the distance from building to building, which is over 1,300 feet. But code compliance requires this council and the committee to shall exclude areas unavailable for use. Now, there is a default construction. These work together. The default is the parcel measurements with excluded unavailable use. The default is the planning committee can say, well, let's just go with the different appropriate measurement, building to building, and that makes sense here. The state of California, whom our clients have a license through, after receiving the permitting from the city, as new controlling interests over the operation, got a state permit to operate the cannabis. With that comes other obligations, security, maintenance of the premises, there's no use allowed in the parking lot, so on and so forth. So again, it's really important to understand this unavailable use issue. The staff has addressed this, and it's just black and white in the code, and that was overlooked. The city's own record also reflects inconsistent measurements with regard to building to building over the years, and then going to a firm parcel-to-parcel line without taking into account the available use. All of the other conditions, the required findings under Section 5 is satisfied. There's no great negative impact, according to the police department, the police chief's memorandum. To the extent there's any conditions placed there, our clients will comply. There's also, importantly, there was notice given as far as any of the other distances of alcohol related, as Canna Cruz was granted exceptions. All of those exceptions can and should apply here. Notice was given. There has been no opposition by neighboring businesses or otherwise. So all of the factors go to reversing and allowing the use. Notions of equity also allow this. Investing, a company comes in and invests in the city by purchasing a business for a large sum of money, only as soon as they make the final payment to have the carpet pulled out from under them and say you can't operate here. Then being pointed to a new location by the city's consultants and being told that, yeah, this looks as if it's a qualified and a location that is in compliance. especially when you look at this, the building-to-building measurement. We go there, for the last year, my client's been paying $6,000 a month in rent without any actual ability to operate at the property that they were directed to by the city's consultants. So, but at its core, the sole reason for denial was the 1,000-foot measurement. And that measurement was incorrectly measured. The 995, yes, it's 5 foot short when measuring parcel to parcel, but to reiterate, the code does not allow for that because you're taking into account areas that are unavailable for the use. And I'd have to answer any questions that the council might have for me.
We'll take public comment, and then you're free to come back up.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. All right, we'll go ahead and go to public comment.
Yeah, Jose Aramonte Bay Committee. I'm going to comment on this. I want to know where this gentleman actually lives. You know where that part of town is? That's a real bad part of town. They call that New Jack City. And there's a lot of people that would have would much want that there to accommodate their bad habits. You're going to create a very hostile environment there. The Denny's is there, and a lot of you people that probably don't know, you didn't grow up in Salinas, or you didn't grow up in East Salinas, you didn't grow up in all these areas where poverty has overtaken. That's one of the areas. And if you don't know that, you should do your homework. That's a bad place to put this thing. He's right, though. He's got you on the numbers. You're going to have to comply with it, and you're going to lose. In court, you're going to lose. He's got the numbers. He's right. But on another note, you know, being a person that cares about the community, I would say, no, don't let him put it there. He's going to create a bigger problem that you have. You have the mall there across the street. You're going to have people that are going to get high and go down there and don't know how to use this stuff properly and create problems, create accidents, create fights. The Denny's is probably going to close once you do that. Think about it. They're going to bring that into the community. The whole area is a community. You guys need to know what you're doing. You know your demographics or demographics where you're at. You guys need to know where and when not to put businesses. That is not a good place to put it. You guys need to pick a better place. But he's got you dead to your rights on the numbers. You're going to have to put them there. But you guys did your due diligence incorrectly. I'm sorry. You guys did. And that area there is very dangerous. And if you don't know, you didn't grow up on the east side or back in the day like I did, there's some dangerous people living there. Okay? God bless you guys. Good luck, and see what happens.
Daniel Munoz, East Salinas resident. I disagree with Mr. Guerra. I used to live right there for a little while on Castro Street. It's not that bad. And I also want to say that, you know, this business is going to generate a lot of money for the city that we need. And I also want to remind people that since there's locations that sell alcohol, anybody could walk into these businesses, right? Kids could walk into those businesses and just grab alcohol and just run out the door. You can't walk into one of these cannabis locations and just steal stuff and run out the door. They won't even let you in the building. You need an ID because, you know, that's how they have. They have very strict enforcement on who enters these things. So I just want to be a reminder here that alcohol is the bigger threat because kids can just walk in there and just steal the alcohol, right? There's no safeguard from them entering the building. They sell alcohol at grocery stores. They sell cigarettes at grocery stores. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities for the kids to get loaded if that's what they want to go and do. But this business, I mean, it seems like they followed all the things that they should have followed. They're even over the 1,000 feet. But when you get the wrong person holding the tape, things get misconstrued and then they get rejected. And I don't think that that's fair. They put a lot of money into this business, and I mean, we need to make money as a city, and it seems like we always find opportunities to prevent people from generating us money. That's what we keep doing as a city. We keep making it harder for people to come here and help and generate money for us. So I really, I would say let them open the business right there. They're going to have way more stricter security and enforcement than any of those 7 liquor stores that are already there. So let's just have some common sense and just think about it's pretty basic, right? Alcohol's worse.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Felipe Lopez, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Salinas Leadership Blue Light Council 3315. We respectfully urge you to uphold the staff recommendation and deny the appeal to relocate the commercial cannabis dispensary to 2033 North Main Street. This decision is bigger than just a single business. It is about whether the city will enforce the laws it adopted to protect our neighborhoods and preserve the integrity of the planning process. Salinas Municipal Code Section 5-07.27 was adopted after careful public deliberation to establish clear separation requirements between cannabis businesses and sensitive community uses. Those standards were not created as suggestions. They were created to provide certainty, consistency, and fairness. City staff reviewed the application and determined that the proposed location does not comply with those standards. If the city begins making exceptions whenever an applicant disagrees with the outcome, then the ordinance loses its meaning. Future applicants will rightly ask, well, why should the rules apply to us if they didn't apply here? Every property owner, every business, and every resident deserves confidence that the same rules are applied equally. Selective enforcement undermines public trust and exposes the city to claims of arbitrary decision-making. This is not a vote on whether cannabis should be legal. It is a vote on whether the municipal code adopted by this council will be respected and consistently enforced. If the council believes the ordinance is outdated or too restrictive, the proper course is to amend the law through a transparent public process, not to create exceptions one appeal at a time. We ask you to stand behind your professional staff, uphold the integrity of the city's planning process, protect the intent of Section 5-07.27, and deny this appeal. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Name is Eric Peterson. And it sounds like this business has chosen to create an enormous hassle for themselves by moving. And the attorney says the city's pulling the rug out from under them. Sounds more like they're pulling their own rug out from themselves and just making it difficult for themselves. Thank you.
Good evening, council members, mayor. My name is Jasmine Topete, thankfully resident of District 5 and a member of Salinas Leadership Blue Light Council 3315. Today, I'm asking you to uphold the denial of this cannabis dispensary and prioritize the health, safety, and well-being of the families who call this neighborhood home. This location is within the 1,000-foot buffer from San Rita Elementary School, my elementary school. That buffer exists for a reason, and I don't believe exceptions should be made when children are involved. The issue is personal to me because I live near this area and there's often someone who parks outside our apartment complex and smokes cannabis in their car. I have 2 autistic nephews, one of whom has asthma, and when that happens, I have to take them inside instead of letting them play outside because I'm concerned about the effects of secondhand smoke. That's why this location matters. This proposed dispensary would be next to apartments, near an elementary school, close to a bus stop walking distance, where students are dropped off every day, and right next to a laundromat where children and families spend time waiting. These aren't just buildings on a map, they're places where kids live, walk, wait for the bus, and play. This isn't about whether cannabis should be legal, it's about whether this is the right place for a dispensary, and I don't believe it belongs in the middle of a neighborhood built around families. When I leave here, I'll be going back to this neighborhood, my home, and I hope you'll keep the families who live there every day in mind and uphold the denial. And as you said earlier, you want the best for our kids, so uphold this denial. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Martin Wesley, CEO of Collaboration Ventures. I agree with fairness and equality. So I'm going to spend my 2 minutes how we arrived here. How we arrived here is that there was an operation, cannabis dispensary, that was operating on Moffett. They were for sale, so we went to the city and said, is this compliant on Moffett? Can we buy this dispensary license and operate it? And the city said, yes, it's compliant, you can do that, you can buy the dispensary license. We gave the purchase agreement to the city. We purchased this business on Moffett. And then once we made the final check payment of the $3 million, 7 days later, we have a letter from the city saying, oops, we made a mistake on saying it was compliant and issuing your state license and local cup. And they told that to our landlord. our landlord wouldn't sign a new lease. We're not looking to move, we're looking to reopen at this point. We've been closed. So we not only, our leases ran out, so the $3 million business, it's just a piece of paper with a license. I can't find a place in Salinas to put it. And I wouldn't be here hadn't I relied on, and our team relied on, the city's representations when we bought the business originally. The measurements, Gene has addressed the measurements, and actually with the Denny's carve-out, because they have a land lease, we're well beyond the 1,000 feet. The area will be safer. We have armed and unarmed security 24/7 at all of our locations. Valley Farm was never broken into because I paid at least one person to be outside as a guard 24 hours, 7 days a week for the 5 years that we were operating. And we paid over $580,000 in taxes. In 2026, there is no taxes. We're out of business. So you've already lost $120,000 if we don't get open, like this year alone. Anyway, I thank you. I hope you can approve it. We're just trying to make this work for all. Thank you.
Welcome back, welcome back. Surprise, surprise, the city pulled the rug out. Shocker. It's funny, you know, I'm allergic to alcohol, and it's on every corner. I drink it and I break out in handcuffs every time. Okay, so I'm up front, everything's on the table with me. Why are we picking winners and losers? The weed shops. That's way better than alcohol. You know, people aren't going crazy smoking weed. Maybe some people, I don't know. But it's like, why are you picking winners and losers? You put up this huge thing about Canna Cruz over here. It's booming. I can tell you, they're not selling weed to any minors. But you go to these liquor stores, they're selling to minors. They're everywhere. They're selling cigarettes to minors everywhere. I guarantee the weed shops are not. Very responsible, very professional, good people. I say, hey, I'll put my money where my mouth is. On Maple Park, corner of Santa Lucia and Carmel. Just take that house, eminent domain, make that a dispensary. I'll put my money. That's like 2 doors down. Those people, they're ready to go. You know, they're troublemakers. You know, but what's the deal? Are we going to hide it? It's legal. Why are we picking winners and losers? We got somebody who wants to invest in our community. It's not going to cost some kid getting dropped off at the bus stop to go smoke a bunch of weed. You know, that's going to be at like the Palma bathrooms over there, locker rooms where the high school kids prey on the sixth graders and sell them vapes in there and everything else. You know, that's the dispensary that's going to get kids smoking weed and doing drugs because they're commingled, right? It's not monitored. So, you know, let's support people that want to invest in this community the right way. And let's raise revenue. And let's be a partner with the businesses, guys. Thanks. Yeah, Rodale, that's another one.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm sure this is not a question on cannabis being legal or the usage by adults versus children. I understand Valley Farm's argument in enticing city council by their taxes. We understand that we are always looking for revenue as a city. I think it's just the basis of proximity to a school that needs to be considered. Whether it's parcel to parcel or building to building, the proximity is just way too close. It's a major area of a lot of transit, and I understand that will entice more business, but I think you guys should look into other options. Thank you. That's why I strongly oppose it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do I have anyone on Zoom? Okay, Jacob?
Yes, this is Jacob Sandoval. I serve on the Santa Rita Union School District Board member, which is the area that's located by the pro shop. I urge you to affirm the denial of this appeal. Although the school itself is further away, there's actually a school bus stop located much closer on the same side of the street within walking distance. Those students get dropped off there to walk over to the apartment complex that's next to the shopping center, the proposed site. It's a high-density residential area with many families and children. Students have been seen playing in the parking lot while waiting for their parents at the laundromat located at the same center as the proposed cannabis business. There's already several businesses selling alcohol and tobacco. Adding another age-restricted retailer would further concentrate these areas and they're heavily frequented by children and families. Please affirm the denial. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is it Luis? I can't, okay, Luis, yes, I'm sorry, I can't quite see it. Luis, you're up.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Luis Morales, Prevention Coordinator for Century Centers. I actually also live behind the shopping center in Castro Street. Daniel Munoz, I heard you comment, and I will have to disagree. It's pretty bad. It's an area of poverty, smashed car windows, homelessness, and people drinking publicly goes on every day there. I've done a lot of research around the consequences dispensaries bring about depending on the area you put them in. So I want to touch on some of them. So first, they are linked to an increased risk of impaired driving. As we know, North Main is very trafficked, and we can see a spike of traffic accidents. Not only is it close to a school, but it's also next to the mall where a lot of youth hang out every day. And not only is it next to the mall, but it's also next to a very busy laundromat where families are present with children every day. And the last point I want to point out is it is the area, it's a low income area for sure. And we would also see health inequities arise with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jorge, you are up. Jorge, are you there?
Hello?
Yep, you're on.
Oh, awesome. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Jorge Rubio. I'm the Outreach Manager with Century Centers. I am here today to respectfully oppose the proposed relocation of the cannabis dispensary to North Main Street across from Northridge Mall. Just a few years ago, many community members actually voiced their concerns to the Planning Commission, not once, but twice about a dispensary relocation to South Main Street, which was denied both times through the commission. Despite the significant opposition, it was ultimately approved after a second appeal that was moved to City Council. I urge you not to make the same decision that was made the last time that a cannabis business did this. This proposed location sits on one of the busiest areas of Salinas, just like many people have mentioned earlier, with high vehicle and pedestrian traffic and frequent visits from families and young people. Just like somebody mentioned, the mall is usually a hangout spot for high school students. And while dispensaries are limited to adults 21 and older, we must also consider the realities of youth access through methods such as shoulder tapping. When a youth can ask an adult to buy it for them, we see it with alcohol, and also with the normalization of cannabis use in highly visible community spaces. Here at Century Centers, we do provide prevention presentations to school-age youth, and we're actually seeing an increased concern specifically related to vaping and cannabis use. And according to the 2025 Moderating the Future survey, youth cannabis use remains a significant concern nationwide. And again, this is not against the legalization of cannabis whatsoever, but about a safe space where this business can actually succeed without having to be such a trafficked area specifically from youth and families. So let's prioritize family-friendly spaces, and let's make decisions that support the health, the safety, and the well-being of our community. So again, I respectfully ask that you deny the relocation of this business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we will go ahead and close public comment, and then Gene, if you wanted to come back up with anything, you have up to 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, council members. To be clear, we're not asking for an exception on the distance from the school. The 1,000-foot exception can't be granted. What we're asking for is the proper measurement to be employed, and that is excluding the unavailable use. So, that's important here. There's only one ground that the denial was based on, and the ground was that it was within 1,000 feet of the school. We've heard folks say exceptions shouldn't be granted to certain businesses over others. Well, we're not asking for that. We've heard certain voices criticize cannabis generally and locations that 1,300 feet may be too close to a school for some folks. But this city council made a policy decision long ago to allow retail cannabis businesses to operate here. And that was relied upon and acted upon. And the council, if they thought that dispensary operation needed to be more than 1,000 feet from the school. They could have passed 2,000 feet, but that's not the rule. The code provides for at least 1,000 feet from the available use, and we're compliant there. So, for that reason, I really urge the council to reverse based on the nonconformity of the decision. There's multiple other reasons, like we talked about, that it should be approved just from general, business development. Revenues can be used to satisfy a lot of concerns that the city may have, to use tax dollars to fix parks, use tax dollars to help the homeless, use tax dollars for anything that the city thought would be necessary to improve the quality of life here. And but we ask that my clients not be punished for relying upon the city's approvals prior to them purchasing the business, relying upon the city's guidance on where they should move to when they were no longer able to operate at the original location. And here we find ourselves begging for approval. Thank you.
Again, I'd just like to add, we're out of business. We haven't been in business there since our lease was not renewed. Our lease was not renewed on Moffett because the city staff reached out to the landlord, not us, and told them, oh, we made a mistake. It's actually not compliant. And so I bought a $3 million business, not me. It's our company, we bought a $3 million business on the city's representation. It was compliant. The city issued us our conditional use permit. The city worked with us to get the state license in our name. And then a few months later, after we make the final payment of the $3 million, the city staff calls our landlord and says, oh, it's not compliant, so the landlord won't even do a month-to-month. We were put out of business. We paid the city over $120,000 a year for 5 years in direct taxes, not including the piece of the sales tax you get. And so it's not like we're deciding, hey, we want to move to a higher traffic location. No, we were fine on Moffett. We were kicked out by the city staff telling the landlord that it wasn't compliant. He could risk his property if he does a month-to-month lease with us. So here we are. We're begging to get open again. We found the spot that your consultant said was most likely to get approved, and the area is going to be safer because we have security 24/7. It's actually going to be safer. None of our properties do we allow anybody to consume on site or come to work inebriated whatsoever. So we have good paying jobs, great health care, and we just want to get back to work, but we're out of business. So this isn't like we're operating and then we're going to move at some point. No, we've lost all of our revenue. I've lost all the customers. All I have is a piece of paper from the city that says I have a right to operate at Moffett, but I can't operate there anymore, and now I don't have a lease. So everybody lost their jobs. The business is damaged. I hope you guys can help us out here, because we're not asking for an exception on the measurement. Denny's has a land lease. We cannot use that part, and we provided a survey that we paid for that demonstrates that. So I appreciate your consideration in addressing this matter. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
No questions for me?
We'll see.
Okay, thank you.
All right, don't go anywhere. All right. Yeah, no, okay, this will close the public hearing. I guess I'd like to ask a question, based on what we've heard I guess, Chris, if you're the appropriate person to respond, is this
where we at?
An accurate representation of kind of what happened, when it happened, and the timing?
So a couple of things I'll let Mr. Grossman address the timing issue, because we do have a response to that. But I want to speak to the 1,000-foot measurement piece for a second, because there's a second part of that section that wasn't read. And it says, this section shall be construed to require a measurement from parcel line to parcel line unless the selection committee determines that different points of the measure would be appropriate. Right? And so the selection committee did not choose to make it a different form of measurement. So as is required under the code, it's measured from parcel to parcel and not building from building. So that's where the 1,000-foot is actually measured from. I just want to make sure that that's clear and accurate as the council considers that. Courtney, if you want to address the issue with respect to timing, or Lisa, whomever.
Thank you, Lisa Brinton, Community Development Director. So the initial permit at Moffett Street included multiple components. Because it was in the industrial area, it also was required to have a permit for the cultivation and manufacturing to then allow the dispensary to be an allowed use. So on a zoning informational letter for the cannabis business on June 21st, 2016, we outlined those requirements. And they then went forward with their purchase. And I believe this is dated, they said on December 21, 2020, they entered into the bill of sale. So it was allowed with the manufacturing and cultivation that was communicated. They went forward with the purchase. Then, and for 2 years, they were operating. We allowed the dispensary to begin operation first because at that time they had building permits in play for the other uses, the cultivation and the manufacturing. And it was on March 22nd, 2022, that we received an email from the property owner to cancel those permits. To cancel the building permit, and those uses were no longer going to be moving forward. And that is what started the issue with zoning compliance and the need for that business to look for an alternative location. So just wanted to clarify that timing.
So, I mean, if I heard this correctly, though, on the basis of the city's representation, they purchased a building.
They purchased the building because there was a building permit in play. And so, yes, they were provided a zoning letter which outlined that the dispensary was an accessory use to the other two permits, which were cultivation and manufacturing.
But in play, so are we, you know, because I don't like the location, but having said that, I also don't, did we give them reason to believe it's going to be fine and go ahead? I don't want to be technically
What we
right.
stated here in this zoning letter was that industrial districts only allow accessory retail sales. And so we indicated that the other components, they actually had delivery service, manufacturing, and cultivating facilities. Those needed to be the primary, with the retail, the dispensary being the secondary and accessory use. So that is stated in the letter that retail is accessory. It is not the primary use. So if the other uses go away, the accessory use goes away. In that district, it is allowed as a primary use in the retail district.
So on that basis, proceeding with a $3 million purchase is premature.
So again, the timing, my
reset, you're
understanding
gonna
of
be
the
fine.
timing of the purchase was 2020. So this letter is 2016. They moved forward with the purchase in 2020. And it wasn't until 2022 that we raised the flag of noncompliance and the dispensary no longer being an accessory use.
All right, thank you. All right, are there any additional questions for council before we move forward? This is an action item.
Mr. Mayor, the only thing I'm going to ask, when we do go for a vote, I know how I'm going to vote, but I would like to explain to the public why I'm voting the way I am.
Okay. Well, before we take the vote or call for the question, we'll allow for final comments and then so we make sure we get to do that.
Go ahead and make the motion.
Yes, go ahead.
I'll make a motion finding the action is not a project per SEQA and affirming the selection committees and planning commission's denial of Emerald Skyway LLC's doing business as Valley Farms request to amend commercial cannabis permit 2024-009, relocating from 1610 Moffett Street to 2033 North Main Street within proximity of sensitive uses per municipal code section 5-07.27.
Second. Okay, all right, any final comments before we call for the
Yes,
question?
and forgive me for, so what does that mean? What just happened here?
So what that means is the motion is to uphold the Planning Commission's denial of their request to amend the commercial cannabis permit, which would mean that they would not be issued a permit to open at the location on 2033 North Main Street.
Did you want to say anything else before we vote?
No, just when we vote, I'd like to say why I'm voting the way I am.
Okay.
Mr. Oh.
Yeah, no, go ahead and go ahead and do it now. Feel free to do that.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm not going to support it as far as the relocation. But Mr. Mendez, you're always telling us to trust your staff, which I want to do that. But you know what? Just in my gut feeling and what I've read, what I talked about, I just feel we could have done something a little bit different in their existing location, however that looked. But in hearing the public in the neighborhood, I can't support something like this when the neighborhood is telling us, you know what, it's in front of us, we don't want it. I don't want to force it on them, so that's what I'm doing today. Thank you.
Andrew?
Yeah, well, I'd like to thank the residents, especially the youth who cited the code and gave a summary of what the neighborhood faces day to day and what it could look like if the potential dispensary opened. We've heard from the school district, community groups, the youth, Sun Street Center, and the residents directly that it will be impacted. So I'm happy to support and affirm the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you. All right, and Margaret, you had a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I would appreciate you asking the question that you asked of Ms. Britton. I'm not sure I understood the answer, so I'm a little bit still confused. Because I think that, I'm kind of where I think that end of the table is that I think something went wrong, and I think it cost them a lot of money, and I don't think that is right. And I think there was a mistake made, an omission, whatever you want to call it, but it was costly, and I feel really terrible about that. That was an expensive situation. It's very confusing with all the different dates and everything, but I still feel like there's still some discrepancy between the stories that we're hearing today, and I have a hard time with that. I'm also your attorney was talking about the excluding unusable area, and that sticks with me too, that's something that I hadn't heard before, and that was, that made a lot of sense. If it's an area that you can't use, then why is it considered part of that measurement? But, so those are my concerns, and I'll vote according to my gut.
Just FYI, the public hearing is closed, so this will.
There's a factual thing I just wanted to point out.
Well, the public hearing is closed.
Okay.
Okay. No, I appreciate it, but the public hearing is closed. Okay. No need to be sorry. We're concerned. Gloria, and then Aurelio.
Well, I'm very concerned that, we weren't able to, the way I'm understanding it, that we have a small business that was told you need to move, and that we're hearing that maybe something went wrong, the communication between our staff and the applicant, where information wasn't given somehow for him to understand that there was a process to approve you to move, that you would have to go to the Planning Commission, that it wasn't, my thing is that Did we give you the expectation? It's a done deal. You're going to be able to move there, no problems. That's what I'm really concerned, that message. And we need to do a better job. And again, it's not against your business, it's the location. We heard from the neighborhood. I'm very familiar with all that area, the problems that we had in that area, and that, yeah. But it's not about your business. It's the location. And again, I'm going to go back. We have residents here. And I am going to have to vote accordingly the way I feel. But again, we need to do a better job.
Aurelio?
Yeah, hopefully there's an opportunity to go back to the drawing board. I can understand the frustration of the applicant, but in terms of this particular request, I think we just need to be like clear and transparent. The community is going to see it one way. I'm sure the applicant's going to see it another. And in terms of businesses, there are some businesses that they're just, no pun intended, high risk, right? You made a decision to enter in a business that is going to have some supporters and some that don't support that business. Depending on the location, there's going to be community input, and in this case, there could be an even larger community outcry. I grew up in this neighborhood when I was a student at North Salinas High School. I know this neighborhood. I know this neighborhood well. I used to walk from Veranda Road to Northridge Mall. And so I know that all the people that live in those apartments, in those townhouses, in some of those farm worker units, they're going to pass by here. And as someone who has walked it and has someone that drives by it every day as I commute to and from work, we have some street vendors that are out there that, they don't have a license. That's also kind of conflicting because you have people just trying to make a living and they're out there, selling flowers and, we could go after them. There's also food trucks that are out there. There's an area where they're allowed, but then there's some food trucks that, that end up showing up and they're competing. And so that has also gone unregulated. And so if the community is seeing, well, we have street vendors and we have food trucks and we need to figure out a solution for them, they're going to be like, well, now we have this cannabis shop. And so if there's a feeling that people are turning a blind eye, then it can get complicated. I certainly hope that the applicant, reaches out to the city and that there's a way to resolve this, but I think there needs to be a clear understanding that the community is not going to want this there. And so I think we need to be transparent. Like, Moffett Street may not have been the best place. There's that old saying, location, location, location. This spot is in an intersection that is probably one of the most heavily trafficked areas in Salinas. North Main and Baranda Road. Who doesn't take North Main and Baranda Road? And so you're going to have a lot of people seeing this, and the community is going to come out and say no, that they don't want it. We're dealing with a similar situation regarding the vape shop being close to Ensign Park. So the community is clear, But at the same token, we want to support our local businesses. And if there's another spot, right, and it may not be desirable to the applicant, if there's a spot that, it isn't going to be visible to youth, because let's be honest, cannabis, is known as one of the gateway drugs. But at the same time, I completely understand, the medicinal use. There are people fighting cancer. There are people with end-of-life illnesses There are, people who need it for pain management because they've got bad joints or arthritis. And so for them that they can't afford, the hard medications, which we know is habit forming, they have something like this to turn to. So we're really stuck, And I think there's an opportunity to work with city staff, find a location, but we need to be clear with what that should look like. And if it doesn't work out for the applicant, then sometimes you need to know when you need to walk away before that loss becomes even greater. So.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to echo everyone on the dais. I'm not comfortable with the location, but I'm also not comfortable with the process. At best seems to me have been disjointed. And this is the second time I've observed us go through cannabis moving from industrial to residential, and frankly, we don't seem to be very, and I say we, don't seem to be very good at landing that plane. I think, for the length of time this went on, I'm going to guess someone in our shop knew somebody bought something. And boy, at that point, I sure would have been, that might be a risk. So I hope we didn't have a catcher's mitt on and we were just receiving pitches, that there was a relationship and a process. But I feel like something broke down somewhere. And so I do have concerns for the applicant. But having said that, I think all the reservations expressed about neighborhood, location, traffic are appropriate, even for a really good operator, which I do know you are. So we're all concerned. I think we've kind of made it clear what each of our thoughts are. And so with that, we'll go ahead and call for the question.
Councilmember Barajas?
Yes.
Councilmember Barrera?
Yes.
Councilmember DeRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember De La Rosa?
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
Councilmember Sandoval?
Yes.
Mayor Donahue?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. We will go ahead, we'll go ahead and finish up with the rest of the agenda as planned. Renee, did you have anything briefly, or do you want me to just proceed to council member reports? Okay, we'll just proceed to council member reports. Anything to my left?
I think I'm going to save my time for Mr. Barrera.
Okay.
Well,
And I know you had did you want me to? Do you want me to finish with you in a moment of silence?
Sure.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Aurelio?
I thought I heard that we were not going to do it, but we are doing it.
No,
Okay.
we're going to go ahead and include this part. We'll go ahead and receive council member reports.
Okay. I'll save mine for the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I will do very brief council member reports. So during the break, I had an opportunity to meet with Senator John Laird to discuss some priorities for the city of Salinas, including the Cesar Chavez Basin Stormwater Improvements Project, the Republic Cafe Landmark Restoration and Economic Development Revitalization Project, and the Closter Park Green Street Project to discuss some financing opportunities from the state legislature. They're about to go back into session next week, or actually this week, I believe. So there's great opportunities for us to advancing those projects, moving them along. I attended the Central Coast Community Energy's Energy Risk Management Committee meeting. Of that committee meeting, and had a meeting with 3CE CEO Rob Shaw. Notably, PG&E has an extension of the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant for another 15 years. Potentially, that's going to be introduced in the assembly sometime early next week, and it's expected that that bill will move along pretty quickly. So as we receive more information, I may ask the city to take a formal stance on the extension of that operation. There's various groups and various factions already forming throughout the state, So we will maintain you guys informed. Notably, there's some concerns already existing around PG&E having some special kind of like clean energy recs that may be construed in the future that would end up resulting in ratepayers under PG&E having their rates increased over the next 15 years during the duration of Diablo Canyon. So again, I'll keep you guys updated, and if there's a need to have the city take a formal position, I'll bring it back to the council. I also invite everyone to attend the Guelaguetza Salinas' 17th annual celebration at Natividad Creek Park on Sunday, August 16th. Also had an opportunity to meet with some of the folks that met with us last year, requesting a formal sister city partnership with the city of Morelia and Michoacan. So we're in those initial discussions. Had an opportunity to meet with the Immigrant Rights Ad Hoc Committee, the city of Salinas, of which is joined in the Amici brief against the Gilroy ICE facility. And then also recently there was an incident at the Monterey Regional Airport in which ICE took a woman. The Delray Oaks Police Department was incidentally informed by ICE and Customs that there would be immigration enforcement at the Monterey facility. However, there was no communication per SB 54 between the Delray Oaks Police Department and the Monterey Regional Airport. Our federal representatives, Zoe Lofgren and Jimmy Panetta, have reached out to Federal Aviation Administration officials for more information, but there hasn't been any response back, and we're still waiting more responses from them. And lastly, and notably, on the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority front, it's always nice to have good news to bring back. And just to let you guys know, we live recycling at the Solid Waste Authority. So the flare that is currently being used at the Crazy Horse facility is being repurposed and has been moved from the Crazy Horse over to the Johnson Canyon landfill for landfill mitigation regulation requirements. So we're extending the lifetime of that flare for another around 10 to 15 years without having the need to buy another flare and increase the rates for our ratepayers. And that's the end of my comments.
Great, thank you. All right.
Well, thinking about cluster
Yeah,
park.
Tony, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just quickly, the Monterey Salinas Transit is having a study session regarding the Salinas Rapid Bus and Transit Center relocation, which is going to be held at the LSL Family Resource Center on August 17th at 6 p.m., which is 1441 Del Monte Avenue. That's going to be a good meeting, especially for people that rely on public transportation. Mr. Mendez, about 3 months ago, if I remember correctly, this council had asked that we get a presentation from the Monterey County Agriculture Commissioner, if I remember that correctly. I want to request that gentleman can show up to this council and really seriously talk about pesticides.
I reached out to him, so we're working on scheduling it.
That's happening?
We're working on the schedule.
Please, and let's try to make it as soon as possible. I would appreciate that. Also, Cluster Park is opening up at the end of the month, the 29th, so put on your tennis shoes and let's go for a little baby jog there. Also, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Mendez, Mr. Callahan, I'm going to request a meeting with the Rodeo Oversight Committee, excuse me, in the month of September, whenever it's convenient. I want to discuss, the transparency, even though the Rodeo Association sent out a letter, which was great, that the contractor's no longer going to be able to participate there anymore. But you know what? I believe the Rodeo Association, along with the city of Salinas, we have some explanation to do on oversight. So I'm going to ask somebody to help me out with this, to buddy me on the Rodeo Oversight Committee for
I'm your
September.
buddy.
And that's going to be to discuss animal welfare standards here with the Rodeo Association. Also, there's going to be a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow at El Gavilan Todd Park. It's on Toro Avenue. We're going to be there at 5 p.m. If you folks aren't too busy, it would be great. We also had a gentleman here, Mr. Callahan, that's been calling the police department almost on a weekly basis because of the noise. I'd like to, you know what, we got a lot of ordinances. Noise ordinance is a serious one. I would like to bring that to the table, Mr. Mendez, Mr. Callahan, and let's discuss that. We need to figure out a system. I know the police department is busy, that's not a priority, but think about it. If you're going to work tomorrow morning at 5 in the morning and you got all this noise, some people don't respect neighbors. So I'm gonna ask that to be brought to this council. Also, I was gonna ask somebody to buddy me up on the monitoring, but that's happening already, and I think I'm done. Thank you very much.
Andrew?
Thank you. So just like to remind the city manager, I've got several requests for information that are still pending to receive responses. Also, you know, for a long time, residents have been requesting red zones, and we've had no update about a timeline or even the guidelines of why certain red zones are painted and others are not. So I'd like an update on that. I'd also like an update to the city manager's commitment to the residents of Jackson Street. I'd also like to thank Aquinas for presenting the city's rental ordinances and rent stabilization information at a recent LULAC meeting and upcoming meeting. They're going to do it at Rotary. And then I want the community to know that our housing division is available and willing to provide similar presentations to neighborhood groups and organizations so residents can better understand their rights and the available resources. Also, Mayor, I'm still waiting for your podcast on the Salinas rental ordinances and rent stabilization. I'd also like to recognize a young resident named Adelene who wrote a letter to me about the impacts of illegal fireworks and her idea, or the impacts on our animals of illegal fireworks. And so she brought an issue to my attention, but also brought a solution. She said, what if we consider using part of the citation money to support animal services for any pets that may be lost or facing issues during illegal fireworks. So I think it's a great idea. Hopefully she'll be able to join us at an upcoming city council meeting. And I'd also like to thank the city clerk, the city attorney, and our economic development director for taking the time to meet with her. I'm appointing Josie Alvarado to the Airport Commission. And finally, I'd like to request that we consider a temporary moratorium on new data centers until the city has had an opportunity to fully study and understand potential impacts to these facilities that they could have on our community. And as we heard today, there is growing concern and questions about flock cameras, and I'd like the city to hold a informational session presented by the police department and an input session for the community so they can have an opportunity to input on that. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, Gloria?
Yes. I would like to request an update on code enforcement. We have a lot of issues right now, and the whole month of July, I met with residents, and I can show anybody my calendar on issues, on code enforcement issues. So if we could have an update, I know we've had some people that are out, and we need to really find out what's going on with our department so we can let our community know. Because, yeah, that's another issue. Letting the community know, we need an update on that Salinas Connect. People are calling. I call, they don't know the process, nobody responds, and at least I'm getting those calls. So I'd like to have an update on that. And the lights seem to be an issue that I'm finding out that the street lights, it could be the whole market area from Chinatown all the way to Hebron where the lights are off. And I'd like to thank the city manager because you did get back, and I know our public works tried to take care of that right away, but I want to remind residents, if you ever see anybody, approaching the boxes, the electrical boxes or whatever, please report it right away to the police, because I get told that a lot of times it's people cutting the copper out of the boxes. So please report it, please. Those are all my comments.
Gloria, did you have a moment? Yeah.
What was the other one?
You had a moment of silence?
Yes, moment of silence for Margaret's father.
Okay, this is at the request of Eloise Shim, who, as many of you know, that come every 2 weeks to these meetings. She's here almost every time. She's very loyal. And she was at the Historical Resource Board meeting the other day and asked me to say, have a moment of silence for her next door neighbor who lived at the Gateway Apartments right down the street here. He died on the 4th of July. His name was James Jones. He came from Michigan. In about 2013, he's an Army veteran, worked in construction here, and died at the ripe old age of 75 years old. And he was a wonderful person in our community that she knew, and she wanted us to have a moment of silence for him. In addition, while I have the mic, I also want to recognize my father, who passed away on July 14th at the ripe age of 102, very peacefully, and gave a lot back to our community. And tomorrow we will be interring his ashes, my siblings and myself. So just want to wish him all the best, and I'm glad he's with Mom. So if we can have a moment of silence, that would be great. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Margaret. All right, we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, meeting is adjourned, and we will be back on the 18th.